Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. Firstly, I would like to apologise for the lower quality video. I have a lot going on in my life right now and it's much easier for me to make quicker videos like this one, where I don't use, high quality camera, high quality audio. It just makes a lot easier for me to upload to you guys, and I want to stay consistent with you guys and keep uploading as often as I possibly can, but sometimes it's not quite as easy. It's easier said than done, basically. But anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go into some things today about what should we go into? So yeah, when to pursue and when to let go. So this is more of a dating advice video. So when you're dating someone, when do you think you need to let go of someone, and when do you feel like maybe I just need to just continue pursuing and see how things go? Because it can be a bit cloudy at the beginning when you first start dating someone, because you don't really know how they feel about you. You're kind of even unsure about how you feel about them. Although if you feel like you're someone who falls in love quite easily, then sometimes you can feel like you're really into someone straight away. But as I speak about a lot, sometimes, people fall in love at different rates. So basically what that means is that you might be someone who gets really into someone straight away, but the other person takes a little bit of time to warm up. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not into you, because it's very rare when you actually meet someone who feels exactly the same way about you and it's 50-50. Usually there's one that's more into the other than the other, basically. So you could be that person, the person that falls in love really fast and you're way into them, and they just need a little bit more time to warm up to you, a little bit more time to get to know you. It doesn't mean they're not interested, it just means they just need a little bit more time to get to the same level that you're at, which is fair enough. We're all different and we all fall in love at different rates with different people. So basically trying to figure out then, when to let go of someone and when to carry on pursuing them. So basically, if you're getting kind of very flaky answers from someone that you're dating, and it's really hard to get them out on a date, and perhaps you're not feeling it even yourself, perhaps you're just pursuing it because maybe you're bored or something like that, you're just pursuing them for that reason, those are the kinds of signs that you need to let go, and maybe this relationship and maybe pursuing this person just isn't for you. Because if they're not displaying high interest, like they're not showing up on dates, or they keep on giving you excuses, or they only come when it's convenient for them, and what I mean by that is sometimes they're really cold, and then sometimes they're really into you and things like that. So sometimes, you ask them out on a date and they say no, they don't give you any reason, and then after a couple of weeks they reach out to you and they want to see you, and then it just kind of happens all over again. You get into that kind of loop. And it could be the case that that person is using you and just like it's your attention. Perhaps they like getting a free meal out of you when you go out. Those are the signs basically that you need to let go of that person. It's really difficult to get them on a date. So it could be the fact that, you ask them out and they come up with an excuse. So they say they're busy, or they say yes and then they cancel last minute. They do things like that, very wishy-washy. That's the sign that you need to let go of them. But if it's just a case of maybe they've just lost a little bit of interest in you, perhaps they're not feeling the same intensity as what they did, so that means maybe their text messages to you have slowed down, or it could even be the case of they're just not being as intimate with you as they were at the beginning. Now, that's more of a case that it may be the case that they've just lost a little bit of interest in you, and the best thing for you to do is to continue pursuing them, continue asking them out, but you may want to just leave it a few days before doing so. Maybe match and mirror what they're sending to you. So like if they send you a message every 2 days, then you send them a message every 2 days. If they send you just like one sentence, if you're looking at the length of messages as well is always good, then you also send one sentence. If you're sending essays to them and you're sending way more messages than they're sending to you, you need to back off, because that could be one of the reasons why they're not really, they could be losing interest, because you're just too familiar. And perhaps, like I said, they're not quite at that level that you're at yet, and they need a lot more time to warm up to you. They've kind of withdrawn because perhaps they can tell that you're getting way more serious than what they're comfortable with, and that's why a lot of women and men tend to withdraw from people that they're dating when things start to get too intense and it's just not where they're at, right? And it could be where you're at, and that's fair enough, but the thing is, you have to be polite and you have to be courteous to the way the other person is feeling. And what I mean by that is that, in other words, basically, if you're the one that falls in love faster, then you have to match what the other person is doing. Because if you try and get them to where you're at and try to make them fall in love faster, basically, then they're going to withdraw from you. They're going to feel like you're going from 0 to 100. And you want to be courteous about this, because you need to respect that person just isn't it just isn't at the same level that you're at, and you need to respect that and not think of it as, oh, maybe we're just incompatible, or maybe if I continue to do things to make them like me, then they'll like me back. The best thing to do to get someone to like you more when you feel like you're way more into them is to back off, be more mysterious, match and mirror what they're doing, basically. Maybe even do less than what they're doing. So, for example, the example I gave earlier was, if they send you a message every 2 days, then maybe you leave it 3 days or 4 days. And when you set up a date with them, perhaps instead of leaving it a week in advance, perhaps you set up a date for like 2 weeks down the line, just to give that more mystery. If you're really trying to, back off and let that person have time to think about you and assess how they feel about you. Because if you're always in their DMs, they can't miss you, they can't think about you. If you're in constant contact with them, they don't have time to think about you. If each time they see a notification from you, basically, they're thinking of you, because that's kind of like what happens, right? If you get a notification from someone, then they're in your headspace for at least, a minute or so. So you want to be mysterious, and if they don't hear from you for a couple of days, then that makes you appear more mysterious. Now, this may all seem like game playing and playing games, and to be fair, it is a bit of a game when you start dating someone, because, like I said, you need to keep your cards close to your chest, because if you're someone who falls in love really fast and this person isn't there yet, and you can tell by the fact that they're not displaying as much affection, or they're just not showing basically the same intensity that you're feeling, and you don't feel like you're there yet, then you need to, slow down and give them space, so they can start feeling the same way about you. And essentially, you have to go at their pace, right? And if you always go at their pace, if you, match and mirror what they're doing, go at their pace, it may seem like it's a game playing thing, like, oh no, but I want to be upfront. A lot of people want to say that to me. They say, I want to be upfront and tell them how I feel, because that's the truth. And it's like, well, yeah, that may be the truth, but it also, when you start dating someone, if you've only been dating them for a few weeks, then you can't go that intense so fast, unless they're doing the same thing. Like, if they're doing the same thing, then that's fine. But if they're not sending you love letters, if they're not declaring how they feel about you, then it's too soon for you to be doing that kind of thing as well. And basically, it's putting you in the realm, even if your heart's in the right place, of forcing things. And you don't want to be seen as someone who's forcing things or anything like that. And you don't want to pressure them into feeling something that they're not ready to feel. Because, like I said, it doesn't mean that they won't feel those things eventually. It's just that some people just fall in love a lot slower, and you might be someone who just falls in love a lot faster. So you have to kind of think of it like that. And yeah, it does sound like a bit of a game, because you're not revealing exactly how you're feeling, because you might be head over heels in love with them, and you have to hold back, basically. That's the game. The game is all about holding back. And it's not a hurtful thing, it's not a manipulative thing, it's a kind thing. Like, it's a kind game when you're holding back your feelings, when you're with someone who isn't quite there yet, who isn't quite at that level. You are just being courteous to how they're feeling, respecting how they're feeling by not forcing things. So in a way, it's a very respectful game, because it's all about respecting the other person and where they're at on their, on their attraction scale, on how they feel about you. Right? And basically, it's okay for you to start revealing how you feel about them when they start doing the same things to you, when they start doing that kind of stuff for you. You know, when they're sending you longer messages, then you can send them the longer messages. When they start holding your hand and getting really snuggly to you, that's when you can start doing that kind of thing too. It's all about just giving them time to warm up to you. And it's a very caring thing to do. And basically, that's when you feel like someone's just lost a little bit of interest in you, then that's when you need to, you know, make sure that, okay, maybe I do need to just continue pursuing them, but I'm just going to back off a bit. I'm just going to give them a little bit more time. I'm going to leave it a few days before I message them. I'm going to leave a good space, so like a good week or two before our next date when I arrange the date with them. Things like that. But if they're being flaky, if it's hard to get them out, if they're hot and cold, if it seems like they just want your attention, then, you know, that's how you know that you need to let go of that kind of person. But if you're pursuing someone who perhaps has just lost a bit of interest in you, but they're still willing to go out on a date with you, they're still willing to meet up, they still want to see you, they still want to hang out, they still reply to your messages, that's how you know it's still okay to pursue that person. So that's the dating advice I have on that. I hope it's helped you. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.